Today's review comes from one of my favourite breweries. Yep, it's Verdant, and this is a Citra IPA. I play trumpet on that tune. It's a rebrew, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we've got the second Citra IPA of the month. This is from Verdant. I play trumpet on that tune. It's a 6.5% IPA with Citra and just Citra. No fancy stuff, just Citra hops. You might have seen a review I did for the Left-Handed Giant, which was Sound and Fury. This was also a Citra IPA, but the difference was I had 5 different types of Citra hops. Well, I'm presuming this has just got bog standard Citra. It says on the hot and the cold side Citra. Crack it open. Let's get it in a glass because I'm looking forward to this. I should have. I mean, it would have been good to do them side by side, really. But you know, I've had a lot of Citra IPAs, and I love Verdant beers. I'm expecting good stuff from this. But I'll be just interesting to see whether whether the flavour is as much if it's as flavoursome, I should say, as the Sound and Fury, because obviously that had a massive flavour to it. But I'm expecting Verdant with their sort of better mouthfeel and their softer sort of water down in the southwest. I mean, obviously Bristol are sort of not that far from there, but we'll see what this is like. Well, beer in a glass. I like drinking out of this glass, but it's a really bad glass to do reviews in because I've got to hold it at this point. So we'll put it like that. You know, all you're getting is the glass art. But beer in a glass. Actually, my light is not right on it. That is. I mean, it's not even custard. It is straw coloured. It's chicken stock. I know a lot of other people, when they see this sort of beer, you know, the New England IPAs, I always use the word custard. Some people say porridge, and that's Nick at Beer Engineers always says like, oh, it's very porridgey. I always say custard, but a lot of people used to say like chicken stock. And I think that is as accurate a description of that really, because it is got that sort of very straw colour, not quite bright yellow and luminous as it were, but very much like if you were putting a chicken stock, making chicken soup or not chicken soup. You know, making a chicken stock to make into a, I don't know, casserole or whatever. It's not food channel, it's a beer channel. Let's go back to the beer. So, looks pretty good. We've got literally a sliver of head. That's pretty much dissipated really quickly. But we'll see if we get some nice lacing in the glass. Looks pretty good. Let's see what the aroma's like. Oh, yeah. That Citra aroma is really like no other. You can get an aroma similar when you're mixing hops, but there's only a hop that does this sort of a good complex aroma is Citra. So you get loads of tropicalness and loads of citrus all banging together to create this aroma. So you've got mango in there, you've got pineapple, papaya, that sort of stuff on the tropical side. On the citrus side, you've got grapefruit, and you've got lemons and limes and actually sweet orange as well. There's a little sweetness to this. It smells really good and really inviting. So let's tuck in. Cheers, everyone. Ooh. A big flavour though with this. Grapefruit. Very grapefruity. Almost to the point where the grapefruit is the vine flavour amongst everything else. There is some tropical flavours in there. I'm getting stone fruits coming in, mangoes and apricots. But grapefruit, pink grapefruit, there's a complexity of grapefruit. You get a little sweetness of grapefruit flavour. The pink grapefruit type of flavour. Then you get in the sort of the normal yellow grapefruit. There's a little bit of sort of, there's a lot of zest going through as well. So cutting through that grapefruit, you're also getting some real sort of lime and lemon, a little bit of weediness as well. It's amazing Citra hop because there's so much complexity to it. It's wrapped up in Verdant sort of signature mouthfeel. It's smooth, low levels of carbonation, really easy drinking. It's cracking beer. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect anything less from Verdant. I think I'm a little bit surprised because it's funny when the last Citra one, yes, there was loads of flavours in there. Didn't quite have the mouthfeel, I don't think. But the flavour was more intense than this. But at the same time, grapefruit is a big flavour coming through here. And you do get grapefruit with Citra, but it's amazing that this beer, grapefruit seems to be sort of the biggest flavour. So, you know, a lot of time you have Citra, you get more sort of lighter citrus notes, and you get more of the tropical pushes through. But this is all about grapefruit flavour. Yeah, even to the point where I think it's a little bit too much. I mean, I don't think I've had Citra with that grapefruit, much as grapefruit twang. It reminds me of certain hops like, I mean, something like, I don't know, maybe even, you know, like some of the Columbus and the Sentinel, the Cascade even. And also things like Equinox, which is always a hop that I always think, yeah, that gives that real sharp grapefruit flavour. And this has got it as well. I mean, even Simcoe to some extent, although Simcoe brings earthiness to it. You're not getting huge amounts of sort of earthiness, but the grapefruit is quite, it develops. You get a little bit of dryness, you get a little bit of sort of piney resinous as well off the back end of that grapefruit. But I think it's just, we're not describing grapefruit juice because there's no grapefruits in this beer. But the sort of flavour that it reminds me of, there's complexity of grapefruit in there, in terms of you getting that sharp sort of almost zesty bitterness. There's a little bit of sweetness coming in, and it's almost as if, you know, if you've ever had a grapefruit, for example, you get some bits a little bit more tart than others, and this is what this is like. You know, you get little sort of hints and pockets of that sort of citrus sharpness and zest, and sometimes that can wave a little bit towards a sort of slightly more bitter flavour, but it's pretty damn good, and I like it. I love it, in fact. Soft mouthfeel. I think for me, I've had Citra only beers which have got a little bit more complexity and less of the grapefruit. I just wonder whether it's just this beer, for example. Like if I took this beer in, you know, another beer like this in a month's time, or, you know, this exact beer, but in a month's time, another can of it, I might get slightly different things, but I'm getting much more grapefruit than I expect. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for I Played Trumpet on That Tune. It's an IPA, 6.5% from Verdant. It's got Citra and just Citra in it. I mean, obviously it's got your barley wheat notes as well, but that's the hop, Citra hop. It's a good example of it. I've probably said it more than enough now, but for me, there's a little bit too much grapefruit flavour than I normally would expect with Citra. I'd expect some grapefruit, but there's a sort of sharpness of grapefruit that's a little bit different, and that's what probably, you do see lots of Citra IPAs out there. A lot of single hop beers use Citra hop, but it's amazing. You could line up 5 of them and they'd all taste slightly different. And then this one is more veering on the grapefruit side. But let's go for the scores. Starting with aroma, appearance, flavour, value for money. This one was just over £5. And finally, my overall experience. Yeah, we topped the scores up. We got recommended, at the high end of the recommended. Total score 78 out of 100. It's definitely worth your while. It's a Verdant beer. I mean, I can't think I've had a bad Verdant beer. They've always been good. And if you're going to have, if you like Citra hops, then you'll like this as well, because Verdant make all the rest of the stuff around it good. Mouthfeel, soft, smooth, velvety sort of mouthfeel is really good, and all the flavours are all sort of in there, and you get this level of complexity. Citrus, tropical, big grapefruit on the back end, and that's the flavour that sort of lingers a little bit longer than the others, but still pretty good. And if you like grapefruit flavoured beers, then yeah, I think you'll like it. So let me know, what do you think? Citra only IPAs, they're the future, aren't they? I mean, I've inspired a little bit by drinking this. I saw Nick at Beer Engineers, and he reviewed a saturated in Citra by Day. It's a double IPA, 8%. I don't think I've had that. I've had the saturated in Nelson, but I don't think I had the saturated in Citra. And he sort of, you know, him and he had it, I think it was his daughter that did it with it, both big fans of it. And I thought, yeah, well, I fancy having a Citra. This is obviously only an IPA, but yeah, let me know. Double IPAs, single IPAs, Citra only hops. I still think Citra's the hop. If you're only going to go with one hop, make it a Citra. So that's enough for today. Hope you've enjoyed the review. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And until the next one, you know what you do. Drink good craft beer and keep on rocking.